Alright, I'm going to install this cold air intake on this '06 Nissan Altima. It's the 2.5. This is just an eBay cheapie, but I'm not putting a lot of money into this car, so I wasn't going to go buy a $300 intake. But we're going to throw this on there. I think I paid, what did I pay for that? 50 or 60 probably. Really thin, really light metal compared to the expensive ones. But yeah, this is just going to be an install video, and it's already got the header, as you can see. Spend a little more money on that because you don't want leaks with those. That was about $200. Got an install video on that if you want to see that. But yeah, I'm gonna throw this on, and then we're gonna do some pool videos. I already did a pool video with it stock. I did a pool video with just the header. Now we're gonna get this on here, and I'm gonna be doing a pool video again once I got this on there too. So I'm gonna start by getting the old airbox out of here and whatnot. But you want to disconnect your battery because you want to reset the ECU so it can relearn for the new part. So before you start, or at least before you finish, disconnect the battery so you reset the ECU. Before disconnecting the battery, I always like to learn the hard way. Disconnect the mass airflow sensor and then wait till the battery is reconnected before plugging it back in. Some cars are highly sensitive to the power surge when you reconnect, and it can fry the mass airflow sensor, like this piece of shit. So I'm going to leave this part here so it'll feed cold air to where the filter is going to sit. But I'll probably be taking this off. Obviously we got to get the box out. Looks like one mounting bolt. We've already disconnected our mass airflow sensor. I'm going to undo this hose clamp. Pop this off of here. Obviously loosen the hose clamp on the throttle body and pull that off. And it looks like that's kind of just attached to the bottom there, so it should come out with it. So this just pops out. That was a little bit of pain in the butt. You want to drag your clamp back. That way you can get your whole hand on there. It's a little tight. You just grab it and pull back and twist back and forth until it comes off. But that's all that holds that in there is those two hose clamps. And it's attached there. There's your throttle body. Now I gotta unbolt this, get my box pulled out here. I took the lid off to see if there was any bolt hiding, but there wasn't. It's just that 110 mil. And then it just comes out. You got this little peg here that sits inside this rubber grommet, and then you got another one right there. They stick a little bit. Just grab it and jerk it and wiggle up at the same time, and it should pop right out like that. And that was pretty easy, so that's everything out of the way. Like I said, I'm going to leave this so it feeds cold air to where the filter sits. So now we got to get the new one in. So it doesn't really come with instructions. I tore it open here and all this hardware fell out. This looks like it might be to replace that if you want to. But if it's the same diameter and lines up, I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. We got some hose clamps here, some hardware, and all these rubber fittings that go over the joints. Obviously this is going to go something like that, so get this thing figured out here, see how it goes in. It doesn't come with instructions. So that's weird. It came with basically 3 different rubber pieces. This one's one size, this one's a wider and a different diameter than that one, and then this one is a step up. I was trying to figure out how the hell is that supposed to work, but it goes clear down in there. I gotta pull this out because the filter actually sits down in there because it's a true cold air intake. It goes clear down in there. I'm gonna take this plastic shit out, which actually, if I remember correctly, yeah, I ripped most of mine out because you can see I've been mud running down at the gun range setting up rifle targets. Looks like I gotta pull this piece right here out, which I'm definitely gonna want to put back so I don't get water up in there. You know, since I'm missing this whole plastic piece, you can see the mud splashed up on that thing where the filter would be. That's not good. Basically means any, you don't have to be mud running this thing to get that filter wet. Driving around and hitting water puddles and stuff, it's gonna throw it up in there on that filter. Not good. So I would highly suggest not running a cold air intake clear down there. If you don't have the piece that completely covers this, because that's what's going to happen, which could actually destroy your motor because it can suck up water and it'll hydrolock the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slightly modify this, and I'm going to cut it to where my filter is going to sit about right here. So it's still going to get plenty of cold air from here, and I'm actually going to leave this here too to kind of block that a little bit. It's still got passages around it to let air in, but I'm going to leave that there to block any splashing up water. And then I still got this feeding in cold air as well, so I'm going to slightly modify this so that I don't get that filter wet, because I'm missing that plastic piece that's the Corolla is now parked on. That's all kinds of messed up, and I don't really want to go through the hassle of trying to put it back in there and have to get all the new clips to put it back in there, which may or may not work depending on what's broken under here. So I'm just going to slightly modify this. I'm going to cut it down to where my filter will sit right next to the battery here. Alright, so this is what I came up with so far. Here's your mass airflow. This bracket goes with that flange hanging out here for the hose clamp. For me, with this one, my old hardware reinstalled, so you can either use the new shit they gave you, but on mine the old ones just went back in, so I just put those back in. The step down one, this pipe is smaller diameter than this pipe, so the step down one here is for the back side of the mass airflow housing to your elbow. This elbow I got pushed all the way in until I felt it contact the throttle body. That's how it sets and lines up with this. That's probably what they gave you that for, in case you had it further out, so you have plenty there to cut it down the size. But my factory piece is working just fine. This wider one here, the one that was wider, throttle body to elbow, and then that leaves us with this piece here that's left, and this fits over that in your tube. Now this little thing right here is supposed to situate somewhat to where, yeah, it doesn't even line up. It's supposed to go on one of these bolts here, but it's not even close to lining up the way it is, you know. So that's pretty much useless. I don't know if they just put it in the wrong spot, or if this is like a universal pipe or what, but yeah, that doesn't even come close to lining up to anything there to mount to. I've looked up other intakes for this car, and they bolt right there. They'll give you a little thing with a bolt and a rubber shock absorber so it doesn't sit there and vibrate like crazy. But yeah, this thing, it's kind of far off from lining up. Plus, I didn't get that thing. There should have been the little mount with the rubber piece and a long bolt, and it didn't come with mine. So that's how I got it routed. And I think I'm just gonna cut it off here, right by this bracket that's way too far forward. I'm gonna cut it right there, and then I'll be able to turn this down so it'll be pointing downward slightly, which should situate my filter right about there. So I'm gonna go cut that and come back and put it on, see how it looks. Another option I have is I could cut it right in front of this too and use this down section, and then just cut it somewhere down there. But either way, I got both pieces of pipe, so I'm gonna cut this off and see how it looks, and I'm gonna mess with this piece too and just see which one I like better. So alright, so this is the top piece, and as you can see, that's pretty much just about perfect once I slide it in there. And obviously it'll be lower to be down there, but then once I slide it in, I think it'll have room. If not, you know, I can just cut another inch off or whatever, and that's pretty much perfect. This is the bottom piece. As you can see, the lip there is what the filter is supposed to go on. But I already test fitted it. It fits nice and snug anyway, so you don't need that lip. And that's how that looks. It's still too low, so I'd have to cut several inches off of that to bring it up, and then it would sit about like that. So you can use either piece. Again, if you're doing this instead of running it all the way down for the reasons I outlined earlier. But I'm just going to pop this top piece on here and see what it looks like. It should be about perfect. I just cut this with my grinder with a cutting wheel. I'm going to take my Dremel with a little polishing wheel and take all that crap off there. Definitely don't want the engine sucking that up. So I'm going to clean that up and then we'll pop it on here. Well, there you go. That's pretty much a perfect fit. So I got it right where I want it. I got this feeding in cold air. It'll bring in some cooler air from down there, but keeping it right here not only keeps it away from the majority of the heat, but it also let it pick up all this cold air right in here. Alright, so I'm going to reconnect my battery, plug in my mass airflow sensor, and good to go. So thanks for watching. I'll have a pull video up real soon, 0-60, 0-100 and whatnot. You want to be notified when that comes. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, click all, and you'll be notified when I post. So we got the header and intake on here, and I still plan to do something with the catback exhaust. So stay tuned for that. Catch you next time. Oh yeah! Oh man, listen to this thing hit lift. It's so loud when it hits a lift. I'm gonna leave the window down so you can hear it here. Alright, watch. So this should be a second gear. Wait for it. You guys are getting spoiled. This was just an install video. Let's do one more with the window up.